NANI?! Stop it. Get some help.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
When I was a kid, and I wonder what kind of adult I grew up to be, it was never this. Sup guys, it's Feeny and welcome to Well Feeny Weeb, and welcome to the first haul of 2022. But this is not just any haul. No. This is my biggest haul thus far in the year that I've been an anime figure and merchandise collector. So I decided to celebrate the occasion. I put on this $15 wig and put on some sequins that are super shiny and totally are not trying to distract you from the fact that this is a haul from September through December of 2021. Oh, look, shiny. I am totally not behind on hauls or videos. No, not whatsoever. Look, shiny. So since this covers September through December, it might be a little bit of a lengthy video. So I advise maybe pausing the video right now, grabbing a snack, come on back, and we can continue the fun and talk about all the plastic butts that we love. Yes, plastic butts forever bind us together. And for those new viewers who have absolutely no idea how you got here, maybe you would like to stick around, consider helping a sister weeb out by liking, by commenting, or even subscribing. That would be amazing. And to those who have been past subscribers, thank you so very much for your continued support. Like, I look forward to each and every one of your comments, and it really does bring me like so much joy and motivation just having all these new weeby friends. So thank you. But all that aside, without further ado, let's get into the haul. Whee! So these first 5 figures have already been featured on the channel and have their own dedicated videos with more in-depth analysis and reviews. So if you're a current subscriber and you've already seen these 5 figures, go ahead and jump to this timestamp that future Feeny will hopefully do. Feeny? To new anime figures that have yet to be featured on the channel. Hello. Future editing Feeny coming at you with a bare face to ease y'all's suffering, because each and every figure that's in this haul is linked down below in a timestamp. The length of this video completely escaped me. I need to learn to not talk so much. But if you want to skip ahead to a certain figure, timestamp below, and you guys have my permission to watch me on 2x speed. Okay, bye. But if you're new here, I like to try and catalog every figure that I get in these hauls. So, quick round for these first 5 figures. This first figure is actually the first pre-order that I ever made as an anime figure collector, and that is the Levi from Shingeki no Kyojin 1/7 scale by HobbyMax. And I learned a lesson about pre-ordering with this figure. And by learning a lesson about pre-ordering, I mean you can't always trust the promotional images, and you should wait for in-hand photos before hitting that pre-order button. At least, maybe not all cases, but in this case, I really feel like I should have. Don't get me wrong, like, I like this figure, I just don't love it. The sculpt work is phenomenal. This is the best 3D maneuver gear I have ever seen on an Attack on Titan figure. The pose is so unique and strong. I love how he's in mid-action walking forward. And the Wings of Freedom drape is just so dramatic and extra, and his cravat swing in the wind, just, ugh. The only thing that pauses me from loving this figure is his face. And the promotional images were quite grainy. And I had assumed that since it was Hobby Max, it was going to be great because, you know, they do all the Radio Ava figures and other Holy Grail figures. But I'm all up for like different interpretations of a character and different art styles as long as it looks good. Here on this figure, like his eyes look too big and far apart and his mouth is too big also. I feel like they should have either made his features smaller or the head itself bigger. And that literally stops me from just adoring this figure fully. From afar, he looks real good, but then when you get up close, you're like, I don't know. I still think he's a decent figure. I just would not pay over retail for him, honestly. Hell, if you even get under retail, you have my blessing. Am I in frame? Probably not, but it's part of my charm. All right, so these next two are the Seto Kaiba and Dark Magician Girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters by Good Smiles Pop-Up Parade line. And I am so surprised at how much I actually love these figures. Oh my gosh. Admittedly, not all pop-up parades are created equally. Some of them have some concerning QC issues. Yikes. But these two I feel like came out fairly well. I think the sculpt excuse me. I think the sculpt work on both of these is very impressive. The sculpt is incredibly sharp, especially on Dark Magician Girl's hair and Seto Kaiba's duster. I think the faces are pretty spot on. I mean, they totally captured Seto's Kamato hair very well and his eyes, as well as Dark Magician Girl's adorable sweet face. Oh, I'm very pleased with the sculpt work and the pose of both these figures. If y'all can pick them up for retail and save on whatever shipping that you can, I would say go for it. Especially if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I think they'd be very pleasant to have in your collection. Why can't they make a Joey one? Oh, my life would be so complete if they just made a Joey or actually a Yuji. Come on, people. Next, we have Makoto Nijima or Queen from Persona 5 The Royal 1/8 scale by Megahouse. Despite not being sure if I was going to keep the pre-order, I've actually grown very fond of this figure the past few months. I quite like the pose, it's very strong. I love her brass knuckles. I think the paint job on her catsuit is perfection. Oh, it's an aesthetic. And her face is adorable. It's spot on. It's perfect. Now, the one issue with this figure that I'm sure everyone is waiting for me to say is that bulge, y'all. To me, this bulge reads, instructions were unclear. Although, I will say, I was blessed with the most amazing quote that I saw on her MFC page, which I believe went along the lines of, thank you guys, I'll go ahead and sand her crotch down. In all my 30-something years on this planet, I have never blessed. So I like to imagine that a bunch of people who own her are just carefully sanding down that crotch. I love this hobby. All right, so this next one is probably one of my most anticipated figures of 2021, and I'm so happy that I finally got her, even though she came in super late. But that is the Raphtalia from Rising of the Shield Hero quarter scale bunny by Freeing. Y'all, she is just a babe, okay? I love the red of her bunny suit. It's not like a bright red. I would say it's more like an apple red, which totally fits her character design of her original outfit. She has the trademark stockings, which is just so fun and so cool. I thoroughly enjoy her pose. I feel like it's sexy enough, interesting enough, but also not too lewd. The slave contract is absolute perfection. I feel like they did such a great job of making it look like an actual tattoo, where over time it kind of bleeds just a little bit and looks more weathered and worn. And this hair, you guys, this hair is, oh my god, this is like a rock star anime hair, y'all. And this face, oh my god, this beautiful baby girl Raphtalia face. I think they captured her to a T. Perfection. I just love this girl so much. And I'm so happy to add her to my little bunny family with Aqua and Chica. I think thus far, she is actually my favorite. All right, so we're finally at the portion with newer anime figures and merchandise that have not been featured on the channel yet. And I know I said that we were gonna start with anime figures, but I lied because I forgot. But I actually have some art prints that I'm so excited to share with y'all. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with this artist if you follow Gwen Collects. She is such a sweet girl. But it is art featured by EMW. And hopefully I am covering my address and information because, wow, that's something I should have done beforehand. And EMW is such a fantastic artist. They feature anime characters in fashion, high-end, streetwear, all that stuff. And I actually have a fashion background. I used to be in the fashion field for quite a while, no longer because it literally almost killed me. So I have an appreciation for fashion and anime, and I'm so happy that I discovered this artist because it's a combination of both worlds. Oh my god. Packages so well. I'm opening it live. I should have done this beforehand. Alright, so one of the first prints I picked was this streetwear fashion of Zenitsu Inosuke and Tanjiro. And coming from a fashion background where I had to do a lot of sketching of clothing, I have to say they do an amazing job of drawing clothing, especially draped on the human form. And plus, my favorite spicy angry boar boy is front and center, which is how it should always be. All right, I also picked up a Nezuko one, and I opted to get 5x7 because I'm weird and I'm like, oh, the scale will be wrong if she's 8x10. So I was like, it'll be more in scale if she's her height, which I think I calculated that correctly. And this next one, I actually regret not getting in a bigger size, and that is the Ash and AG print from Banana Fish in this late 80s, early 90s ensemble. Oh my god. Just look at the way Ash is looking at AG, and oh, like, normally this is not my fashion, but the use of color and the vibrancy with the background, I love it. These next two figures, I am so happy that I'm finally the owner of, and they are, drumroll please, the Eren and Mikasa from Shingeki no Kyojin 1/8 scale by Kotobukiya. Yeah. I snagged both of these pre-orders as soon as they went up on AmiAmi for their re-releases. And they were pretty close to one another in terms of coming out. I think one was September on October. I swear to God, like maybe a week or two difference between the two. And I wish I would have known that, or else I would have combined shipping. But alas, that is just the norm of this hobby. Occasionally spending 30, 40, a few hundred extra bucks, you know, same old, same old. All right, I'm gonna hold these individually, but let's start with Eren Yeager. And you cannot convince me otherwise. I think this is the best Eren figure on the market that I have ever seen. First of all, this pose encapsulates the spirit of Eren to a T, especially that of season 1 Eren, like just full of vengeance. Vengeance. Starting from the bottom up, we got this incredibly impressive and alluring tree trunk with really cool scratch marks with blades that can be embedded. I don't have it displayed here because they actually pop out very easily, but on the B-roll I'll show you. The boots are fantastic, y'all. These are some good boots with great sculpting traction on the bottom of the soles. The buckles are extremely clean, as well as the belts. And this 3D maneuver gear is spot on. It's beautifully sculpted with high amounts of detail. I love the metallic paint finish. And the clothing folds are so delicate and beautiful, from the shirt to the little skirt to the poncho cape. It's all amazing, but you can actually remove the cape if you would like. Plus, like, this Eren face is perfect. I love the fact that they went with an open mouth sculpt. I think they did such a great job. And the eyes are exactly like the animes. I love the depth of the green coloring in his eyes and his furrowed angry brows. Like, perfect Eren face. So one of the reasons why I was kind of digging my heels in doing this haul was because I was very intimidated by the assembly of this figure, which, joke's on me, Eren's was actually very easy, which is not the case for Mikasa. All right, so Mikasa here. I am like holding my breath, trying to be as delicate as possible so that everything doesn't come tumbling down. This figure was absolute torture to try to assemble. It is not balanced whatsoever, so I remedied this with some good old quake-proof putty. And I just wedged it underneath her butt and parts of the tree trunk, and there you go. I can breathe again. Thankfully, the absolute beauty of this figure makes up for the frustration in assembly. The tree trunk is fantastic, just like Eren's, although it's like a different tree trunk, right? It can't just be me. The boots are amazing. There's traction at the bottom of them too. The paintwork on the clothing as well as Wings of Freedom is clean. There's no bleeding, there's no fading, just kiss. And they did such a phenomenal job on her face and hair sculpt. The hair is so beautifully sculpted with individual strands, and I'm so happy that they went with a dark blue with black highlights to make it pop. Her nose sculpt is perfection, and I especially love the lip sculpt. And her eyes are just so beautiful, like they really captured her eyes as well. When I think of Mikasa, I think of two words, strength and stealth, which I think this figure did a phenomenal job of representing. The pose is just, it could not be better for Mikasa. I mean, look at this crazy acrobatic move that she's doing, and she's doing it effortlessly. I know people are probably tired of seeing these two figures, but there's a good reason for it. Like, these figures are just... I thought I was tired of seeing them too, but having them in person, I just marveled at all the work and effort that was put into them. So I'm so happy that they're in my collection, and I honestly think they should get more re-releases because more people need to have them, especially for their phenomenal prices. Oh, and I totally caved and I pre-ordered Levi. Okay, so these next two may not be considered anime, but you know what? Anime is like whatever you want it to be. At this point, what even is it besides great animation and wonderful storytelling? But they are the Katara and Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender by Diamond Toys. I say it like it's a question because I really don't know this company. I think they just make a bunch of posable toys, mostly of Marvel characters. Anyway, you probably won't come across them unless you want these figures. Now, Avatar: The Last Airbender is so embedded in my being. I love it so much. It's a show that like helped me build and strengthen friendships that I've had for well over 15 years already. So I owe a lot to Avatar, and it means so much to me. And I'm so sad that there's not more figure merchandise. I feel that it's like untapped potential. Figure companies need to get on this. Good Smile, I'm looking at you. I know there's going to be a Korra pop-up parade and a Nendoroid, but I need more. I need more like 5 years ago. But let us start with Katara. She was actually purchased from my local Bedrock City comic book shop here in Houston, which you guys need to check them out. They are so nice. The box is literally like whatever. It's so boring of a box, but really nice preview of the picture in the back at the very least, with a synopsis of her character. So while Katara's blister was hella weak, but I was very surprised to see that she is actually already attached to her base, which I'm not complaining about. The clear plastic effect piece, which is supposed to mimic water, is okay. I mean, it translates as water, and I think they did a pretty cool job with the blue variant coloring, but the plastic is kind of greasy. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. So I guess it's just a cheaper plastic. I really love Katara's third season outfit, and I am so happy that they gave her such a strong pose. The clothing looks decent, although not really shaded, but I appreciate the coloring of this figure in general, especially her darkened skin tone. Unfortunately, her eyes are why are they that big? I don't know why. And I guess Katara just discovered what eyeliner was, which no hate, girl. We all have an awkward eyeliner face. Now, the one thing that I really can stand is her hair, unfortunately. The sculpt is not even that bad, but the paintwork of it is so bizarre. Like, the hair feels like light grit sandpaper, which is something I've never felt in a figure before. Thankfully, this figure was not too expensive. I only paid $50 for her. And if anything, she is quite sizable. Like, I would say a 1/9, maybe even a small 1/8. All right, next up is Prince Zuko, which, little fun fact, doesn't have anything to do with the figure, but last Halloween, I was actually Prince Zuko, and all my really good friends were Avatar characters, and it was a lot of fun. So when I say I love Avatar, I mean it. Like Katara's, the box is quite underwhelming and I think a bit too big. And I don't know why they have Aang at the front of the box, which is really confusing because when I opened up my package, I was so worried that they accidentally sent me Aang and not Zuko. But I mean, I guess they just chose to do it for Zuko. I don't know why. Once busted out of his blister prison, I noticed that he was substantially bigger than Katara, so at least they are in scale. And also like Katara's, he was attached to his base, and I think they actually improved his element versus Katara because there was a lot of sculpting for the fire, although it's not very noticeable because there is a lack of shading on this figure. But I do appreciate all the variant of tones with red, yellow, orange. It looks good. I'm so happy that this is season 3 Zuko because it's my favorite outfit of his, and they did an okay job on the clothing. There is definitely a lot of movement because his pose is just so dynamic. And like Katara's, there is unfortunately a lack of shading, and there is also paint bleeding and feathering, but nothing too bad. I was also happily surprised by the 2 swords on his back, which I was not expecting whatsoever. Moving on into his face, I appreciate the ambitious nose sculpt. His mouth looks good, although there is some paint texture at the bottom, but it's only noticeable if you're really up close. His one eye is like fine. I wish there was a little bit more emphasis, or at least his eye was a little bit bigger. And his scar, not the best, but at least it's noticeable and definitely reads severe daddy issues.
My honor.
The hair is sploopy. The ends are unfortunately very blunt, but hey, brownie points for attempting sculpture of hair strands. If you look really close, you'll definitely notice the flaws, but if you take a step back, I think these figures look decent. Each one has a great color palette that complements and contrasts the other. Plus, I just adore these characters, and I love this show so much that I'm happy to have figures of them that are good enough. If you're a huge Avatar fan and you're okay spending $40 to $50, I say go for it. Next. Okay, so this one, the Ami Ami pre-owned section at 2 o'clock in the morning struck again, because we have, oh my god, trying to get a hold of her. Goodness. We have, oh God, get on your base. We have Shirahoshi from One Piece Non-Scale by Megahouse. I don't even know if I'm saying her name right because I left One Piece at Ace. I don't want to be hurt again. And if you can believe it, this is a C grade figure, like CC, C item, C box. Which Ami has some pretty high standards, so I was willing to do it and buy her, which she only cost me like 38 US dollars. 38 for all this. So this figure is nearly a decade old, and it kind of reflected that in the box, but man, this blister was a little bit difficult. I was surprised considering she's a used figure. It had these metal plastic twisty ties, which I'm pretty sure I have not seen since 1998 opening up Barbies. But once I busted her out of her blister prison, I was so surprised at how amazing she still looked. The base was so cute. It's just like this bright blue color with a starfish and some coral for her to lay upon. Her mermaid tail looked so magical. I love the paint finish of the metallic red, her beautifully sculpted scales, and I thought it was really cool that they had these translucent white plastic pieces for her fins. It's a nice touch. One of the reasons why she was labeled a C figure was because the gold paintwork had faded over time, but if anything, I actually like it more because it's a more subdued gold, more like a rusted gold. But one of the biggest highlights for me that made me so happy is her epic hair sculpt. Oh my God, the sculpt work and the pink color make it look so ethereal and pretty. Like, is this real Megahouse? Is this really you? And her face is absolutely adorable. The print job in her eyes is so detailed and still very vibrant even after all these years. I really like her nose sculpt. I'm not a real big fan of her mouth sculpt. I don't know, it kind of reads like smiling emoji to me, but once I get that out of my head, like it's fine, like that's just me. Oh, and there's also a teeny tiny little Luffy. Yeah, like it's a cute detail. I'm glad that they added it, and he's actually pretty well painted. Like, I know that this is another impulse buy and I really need to hold off on the impulse buying, but how could I say no? How could I say no to all this beauty for only 38 US dollars? Like, I don't regret a thing. Plus it's like mermaid, okay? Let me be 12. Okay, so this next one has also got me in the nostalgic feels, in that is Usagi from Sailor Moon Eternal by Bandai Spirits from their Glitter and Glamour line. She is a prize figure, so she comes in a tiny cardboard box with pieces that you have to assemble yourself, which is no problem. They're not hard to assemble whatsoever. When you assemble her all together, she comes in about 9.5 inches tall, which is incredibly tall, but you know, you get lucky with these prize figures sometimes. But the sculpt work I think is really impressive, especially since she is a prize figure. Like, look at all the beautiful ruffles of her skirt. Her hair pigtails are phenomenal, especially the tippy ends. Her legs are gorgeous. Her wings are striking. Like, I really can't believe that each individual feather was sculpted. I also really love the print work in her eyes. There is just so much depth within them. I also love how her hand is reaching out. I can't help myself. I'm like, oh, I want to grab it. Be like, okay, Usagi, let's go. Did you fucking see that? Oh, damn it. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, this figure is gorgeous. I love the size, she's huge, but she keeps falling apart. Oh, I have to constantly worry about her dongos exploding off, her arm popping off, the wings popping off, this ugly little stand popping off. Like, absolutely gorgeous sculpt. The paintwork is pretty decent. There's no bleeding. There's a little bit of lack of shading, but she's also under $30. But damn, like, she is delicate. You can barely move her. So that is the trade-off for having such a pretty figure at such an affordable price, I guess. Oh. Lord, give me strength. Help this 30-something-year-old woman deal with all these little plastic bitches. Okay, we have another Ami Ami pre-owned section figure, and that is Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen 1/8 scale, once again by Kotobukiya. I saw him with his bonus head shop exclusive on the pre-owned section for $100 USD flat, and I chose EMS shipping, and you guys, this is the first time I have ever had such a problem with EMS. Like, the box was screwed up on a bunch of corners, but thankfully Ami Ami did a great job packaging so nothing was damaged. And I'm not gonna lie, he was an impulse buy. I pre-ordered Megumi and I was like, that would go well. Plus, Yuji is such a sweet little cinnamon roll boy. Boo, 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 boo. As per usual of Kotobukiya, the base is really cool and interesting. It's like this clear plastic piece with different transparencies. Although it does feel kind of brittle. Right out of his blister, he comes with his little angry face and a fighting stance with his raised up fists. Thankfully, he has like these spirit fist things, I forget the name, I'm sorry, that you can replace instead, which I think really elevates the figure. His bonus head sculpt is done very well. It's just him smiling and being a little goober. Although exchanging the heads was incredibly painful because his hair is insanely sharp. I could not do it. I had to get one of these rubber jar openers to even attempt. Yes, I know, I'm a weak bitch, baby. But moving on to the figure, I love Yuji's shoes. They did a great sculpt job, and I love how the red matches his hoodie. They did an accurate job of matching Yuji's body frame. The paint job of his uniform looks great. It's a dark navy blue with black shading to make it pop. Very, very clean, very smooth. I know plenty of people didn't like his face sculpt. I'm actually okay with it, bonus head included. The one thing that I can't get down with is his hair. I feel like it's too piecey and too spiky, and the color's off. I wish it was like Good Smile's Nendoroid Yuji. I like that one's hair color and how the hair is a little bit more chunky. But in general, I think that this is a decent figure. And even though it's 1/8, it's a very big 1/8, as Kotobukiya does. Plus, I feel pretty good with what I paid for him. All right, so we have another queen in this haul, and that is Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen 1/8 scale, once again, Kotobukiya. I love this figure. I love this figure. Oh, I love how she looks. Nobara was purchased from Ami Ami, and I actually only paid $75 US for her. I don't know if y'all are aware or not, but whenever there's big launches like from Kotobukiya, if you just scroll down a little bit underneath the price, sometimes they'll give you a bunch of listings of cheaper options of the same figure. This one, they said that there was a little bit of damage to the box, which I'm telling you right now, there was like no damage at all to the box. I don't know where they got that from, like not even a scratch. I don't know if it was a typo or anything, but I only paid $75 for her. Now I am very, very, very regretful that I did not get her bonus head exclusive. Out of the three of Megumi, Yuji, and her bonus head exclusive is my favorite. I'm so regretful. Like Yuji, she has the really cool base with the different transparencies. I love her little grandma loafers. Like, Kotobukiya always kills it with the shoe details. Her stockings are cute too. I love it's a shiny paint finish, and I appreciate the fabric folds on the back of her knees. And that skirt is yummy, you guys. It is so yummy looking. Like, the pleats are so sharp and the paint job is so smooth. Like, there's simple joys in life, and a perfectly pleated skirt is one of them, right? I also love the way the top of her uniform moves on her body. I think it's really cool how it's kind of hiked up in the back and you can see a glimpse of her shirt underneath. And her hair, I love the way it's moving and the way that it's sculpted in the color.
They definitely nailed her expression. Get it? Nailed. She uses nails and it just... Anyway, her eyes, mouth, and nose look great. I know this figure doesn't come with any crazy accessories or effect pieces. She just has her hammer, nails, and straw doll, just like in the show. But I think Kotobukiya did a great job highlighting the strength that she wields using her accessories into this pose, and did not make her look awkward whatsoever, which is what our queen deserves, honestly.
Even though both of these figures were impulse buys, I'm quite happy that I have them, and I think they look so cool side by side. Oh my god, I almost forgot. I picked up this Gojo Nendoroid months ago. I completely forgot because I am inconsistent. But I got him from Tokyo Otaku Mode, got him in the initial launch, saw shipping from Tokyo Otaku Mode, and oh my god, you guys, that box was fucked up. I was so worried that my figure was actually going to be damaged, but thankfully he was not. He came perfectly intact without even the smallest of dents on him, so go Tokyo Otaku Mode, I guess. I'm not gonna open this on camera because I think I'm quite awful with Nendoroids, but yeah, I picked up this Gojo. I don't think I'm gonna pick up any of the other characters from Juju. I would like to, but I'm just not a Nendoroid girl. But I am a Gojo simp, so here we go. Alright, we made it to the end of the video. Here's a little before and after of the figure boxes stacked on top of each other, and then the figures out of their boxes. I counted. From the months of September through December is 14 different items. So y'all are the real MVP if you made it for 14 different items. Oh my goodness. But if any of you guys ordered more than 14 items in 4 months, please let me know. Like, help me feel better about myself. But what was your favorite figure out of this haul? Let me know down in the comments because I'm honestly very curious to know, especially if any of you guys also picked up these figures. Woo! We're done. The monster haul from September to December is over, and I am so tired and hungry. So if any of you guys made it this far, thank you. Ow. Thank you so much for the added support and just, you know, your time. Like, you have no idea what it means to me, and I have so much fun communicating with you because I'm a big old weeb and I like talking about weeby things. I'm gonna try to not let hauls get this big ever again. Just IRL stuff lately has been really kicking my ass, but I have some figures that just came in that I'm really excited about, and I would like to film some unboxings for them, as well as a Holy Grail and wishlist anime figure list. So yeah, if you guys are into that, please consider sticking around and maybe subscribing if you haven't already. As per usual, all my social medias will be linked down below. I'm mostly on Instagram and my figure collection, so I would love to communicate even more with you guys on there if possible. And with that, my friends, I hope all of you have a phenomenal week, and I really cannot wait to just see you again. So, goodbye.